You know what time it is? It's time for a brunch talk, y'all. That's right.
I love that.
They're the num num num.
Yeah.
Here we go with our brunch talk. I've listened to a few podcasts where there's like, what is it, like a hype man before the host comes on. I think we should get a hype man or hype woman. You know, like coming to the stage, we've got Julie Kravchuk and Yue Shu for brunch talk.
Yue, you could just do it. We don't have to hire a hype man.
That's true. You're right. Yeah, I just did it.
Oh, it is a heat wave right now for brunch.
I heard it's really hot in SF.
It is hot. It's great though. You know, I'll take it all day, any day, but it is hot. Hot.
Hot. Not as hot as Austin.
Not as hot as Austin. I got back from there, 100 degrees every day, so definitely
and
not
humid.
as hot. Oh my God. We were in pools every single day. It was just
You'd
so
have
hot.
to be. Yeah, the humidity really kills my hair.
Yep. I did not have any brunches in Austin, but I did eat a lot of tacos and barbecue. $100 worth of barbecue.
So good. So good.
We clearly did not know how to order. I was like felt sick after because I ate so much barbecue.
Clearly you don't get the same amount of barbecue in San Francisco, and that's why you got to do it, right?
Well, yeah. We're like, I think we ordered for 4 people, not 2. Oops.
That's okay. That is okay. You're only in the city like once every few years. It's okay to take advantage. And it's true, you really don't get the same type of barbecue on the West Coast.
No.
You just don't.
No.
They don't do it this way.
That's why I was like, I don't need to do brunch. Like eggs are pretty much the same everywhere. Although a breakfast taco would have been good. That would have been good. That does
sound pretty good.
But also, I'm like, it's basically just eggs in a tortilla.
Right. Depends on the sauce. I realize everything is about the sauce and the seasoning.
That's true. I swore I wasn't going to have tacos for at least 2 weeks, but maybe I'll make a breakfast taco.
Yeah, a breakfast taco. We recently went to this very sceney brunch spot in LA called Catch.
Okay.
And it's in West Hollywood. It's one of those places where I kind of knew it would be like this, but you walk in and everybody looks the same. They're dressed the same. Their makeup's the same. Everyone's on their phone. But the best part was I went to the bathroom, right? So I was behind 5 girls going into the bathroom. So I was like, oh man, I'm going to have to wait in line. We get into the restroom. None of them went to the stalls. They were all just taking photos inside the bathroom because the bathroom was very pretty. So I was like, what is this place? Like, why are people here taking pictures in the bathroom, taking pictures for each other, taking pictures through the mirror? I'm like, great, I don't have to stand in line, but I've never seen anything like it. Like, it's just so the epitome of LA, at its like the most superficial aspect.
So it's like an Instagram background? Like
it's like, it's just really pretty. The whole restaurant, and like there's a lot of flowers, really pretty colors. The bathroom is really pretty. So it's a good place for photos. I didn't really think people went just to take photos, but I can guarantee you we looked around all the tables. Everyone had their phones out and they were not talking to each other because they're probably posting about having brunch with their besties without actually talking to their besties.
I feel like I've become that annoying person that takes photos of all my food. I do that. Fine-tuning the art of food photography, but now I'm like, I remember making fun of people like that, and now I'm one of those people.
You do you. You do you. Whatever makes you happy. As long as you're not asking me to take a picture of you posing with the food.
God. Yes.
In the bathroom.
I went to the tiled steps in San Francisco a couple weeks ago. And there were these people that were doing a full-on Instagram photo shoot. And we were like, we need to walk around them. We're going to be here all day if we're waiting for them.
I'm so glad there was no Instagram when I was in college or high school.
I
think that would just ruin my personality and self-confidence.
I can't even imagine. Well,
this is totally not related to the question, but the question you will find entertaining, a question we've all entertained at some point in our lives, I think. Then the question is it okay to date a coworker?
Okay, well, a little more context from, the listener that wrote in about this. So she said, I've never done it before, nor have I had the desire to, and my overthinking brain can think of plenty of reasons not to shit where I eat. But recently, I have been feeling some sort of vibes from a coworker. And this is someone I don't see every day, and because of the pandemic, we have different schedules. But earlier this year, or let me say that again. Because of the pandemic, we have different schedules, and we only see each other roughly once a week. But earlier this year, I suddenly started feeling vibes from him. Heart face emoji. The thing is, I sometimes have trouble telling if it's just someone being friendly or if the vibes I'm sensing are actually real. Because we're adults, and I believe that if there were interest, he would be direct about it, or rather, I'd like him to be direct about it. And while I'm still enjoying having my little crush, I'd love to have some forward movement.
Crush at the workplace is very fun when you're physically going into the office, because then you don't know when your crush is going to, be in the kitchen, around the water cooler. But in a virtual world, it's kind of strange because your chances of seeing them is very intentional. You know when you're going to see your crush.
I was actually thinking that a virtual world would maybe make dating a coworker easier. Because,
Tell me more.
The shit where you eat, that's a very real concern. To have to go in, let's say things turn sour. Let's say you date, everything gets off to the right foot. Or even if it doesn't, let's say you're even tell the person you're interested and they don't return the sentiment. Either way, it's going to be fucking awkward to have to go into work every single day and see this person.
Yeah.
So if you're in a virtual world and you see them once a week, if even, and you can maybe even adjust your schedule that you see them zero, I think it's so much less awkward. And then also if you date, you could just be in the same house on different computer screens and people wouldn't even know that you were dating. But also it could, even if you're at your own home, it doesn't feel like you're spending every day together when you're only popping up on Zoom every once in a while.
It's a little harder to develop a relationship, I guess. I think in person, the office romances I've seen have always been at office holiday parties or after work. Yeah. And you kind of, you get in that context of being flirtatious, but over Zoom, it's a little bit harder to flirt,
Yeah.
But I think the idea of dating coworkers is not a new concept. This is how people used to date and marry before the internet, because that is your network. So it kind of makes sense if you have feelings for a coworker because you've seen them more than once and you can develop that attraction over time. And also at work, it's kind of fun to see coworkers of how they react in different situations, like how they handle pressure, how they handle leadership, how they handle presentations. And sometimes those scenarios can make someone a lot more attractive too. So let's talk about the legal aspect. A lot of companies do have a policy where you can't date your direct report. And that makes a lot of sense. It does affect your reviews and compensation, all of it. There could be lawsuits. But I think companies, at least in China, a lot of the companies actually prefer that you date each other because it keeps you longer at that company. Studies show that people who get into relationships with their coworkers and eventually get married stay at a company twice as long as someone who didn't date a coworker.
So I believe that, but what happens when it goes sour? I'd want to get the fuck out ASAP. So I feel like that stat only works if it goes really well.
Then the question is, how much do you like your job?
Okay, so my take on this is I feel like when I was early in my career, I worked at Yahoo in Boston, and so many couples came out of that office. Like people that got married, people that were just hooking up. Like, I admit I've hooked up with a coworker or two. And,
or two.
Or three. I'll stop there. But yes, it was a prominent thing in this office. It was very incestual, which, was good, obviously, for the people that got married. I mean, clearly it's someone that you have common interests with. You have similar ambition and drive. Like, there's a lot of again, reasons why it works. I feel like for the people it didn't necessarily work out with, it got a little like gossipy and awkward.
Oh, for sure.
And I
Yes.
mean, it wasn't like the end of the world, but I remember, okay, this is going to sound really bad, but I'll say it anyways. So I hooked up with this guy that was an intern, but he actually was older than me. So he was not like young intern.
Like a B school intern.
No, like he was
No,
like
okay.
a 6 or 7 year college student.
Okay, never mind.
So I remember though, I had to like give him a project to do, like a really shitty project. And I was like, I do not want to have to do this, but I can't tell my manager like I slept with this guy, so I can't give him this project. So anyways, but there was also just like, it did get a little like high school vibe, collegey, like that I didn't love. Anyways, I'm not going to go too much into that. I think where it's changed is the Me Too era. Like, I feel like you just don't hear as many couples that are meeting at work. And this is pre-pandemic, nothing to do with the pandemic. Because now, if you hit on someone at work and it doesn't go your way, you are now a sexual harasser. And I think there's a lot of risk that comes with that, right? So this person that wrote in is kind of expecting that this guy is going to make the move. I would say if you're interested, it's almost like you should make the move, because I think men, especially hetero men, are very gun shy to make a move at work. So I don't know if it's any indication if this person's interested or not. If they haven't, I think we also need to be aware of just the climate that we're into.
Yes. So how do you move something like this forward? I've seen this done where it's almost important that you have some sort of IRL event. So maybe you gather a small group of your coworkers to go out for happy hour or to go on a hike. So you're in a small intimate group, 4 to 6 people. And when you're in that group and your crush is there, you focus your attention on him and you start talking to him, and maybe just throw around like, I never see you in person now that we're virtual. We should do a one-on-one, like a Zoom one-on-one, just to catch up. That. And then you can do the online, offline, online, just go kind of ping pong back and forth and just developing that connection. That way it's low stakes. You haven't said anything. I don't think it's necessary to be like, I have feelings for you. You're still sussing it out yourself, and they probably are too. And both of you are probably scared of what this could be if it didn't turn out the way you wanted to. So just take it baby steps and just ping pong back and forth between online and offline.
I think this is going to be a longer game. You're doing the long game here versus dating apps where you meet, decide if you're going to date or not. This is definitely one that needs to play out. I do think, though, right where we are right this minute with going back to the office, but still not being fully back, people are ripe for connection. So people are very down to do happy hours right now. So I think the next time that you two are on the same day shift, make that happen. Like, I think people are going to be receptive as long as there's advance notice. And, you'll also see, like, clearly he might have plans that are unrelated, but if he's totally down to go get happy hour, then that's a good sign, right? So I think you'll be able to understand a little from the reactions. Not to say, like, if he can't one time, it means that he's not. But the more you can do these, like you were saying, just subtle ways to hang out, and you'll see, like, is this person down to do it? Do they always have some excuse of why they can't do it? If you do the one-on-one, is it all about like work stuff? Do they never deviate from work? Those might be signs. Also, like, what is this person's status? Do you know for sure they're single?
Yeah,
because I personally don't know if a lot of my coworkers are single or not. I have no idea.
Yeah, or what sexual preference they have. I have
There's
no idea.
So many factors.
Yeah, no idea. Seeing someone outside of work can really change the context. So I think that's, a very important thing to do. But one word of caution, and I've seen this happen. I've never been victim to this, thank God. But don't tell any of your coworkers that you have a crush on this person.
Yes,
just don't.
Do
that's how gossip starts.
Oh, God,
and it's going to ruin everything for you. So just keep it to yourself. Just tell us at DATEABLE Podcast. These are the only people that need to know, but do not tell your coworkers.
I'm really glad you said that, because I feel like that's just going to make it feel like high school again.
Yes.
Like, that's what you want to avoid, like the gossip circle. You know, I definitely had coworkers at my current company that they don't work there anymore, but they did date for a while and it was very under wraps. Like no one really knew
Mm.
for a long time until they were serious, like living together
Mm-hmm.
serious.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's totally fine. Like if this was to progress, like having those types of conversations with your partner. There's another couple. They were actually a couple before they worked here though, and they would be on the same calls and they would be in separate rooms because they lived together, but they
Oh
didn't
my
want to
gosh.
seem like unprofessional where they're like on video calls together, you know? So I think it if you are going to date someone in the workplace, expect it to be different, your relationship. You're not going to be PDA. You're not going to be like declaring your love as much because there's a lot of these factors out there.
And you almost have to preempt the coming out announcement. You kind of like when you get to a place you feel serious enough about each other, you just start telling people. Get ahead of it. Don't let people gossip or guess what's happening. Why are you guys showing up at the office together or on a same Zoom call together? Just get ahead of it. I
Yeah.
had this happen when I was dating a coworker, and when we DTR'd, we told everyone, like, just so y'all know, so you don't stop guessing, stop gossiping. We are dating. And then everybody shut up because once you tell them, it's no
Yeah.
longer gossip and it's like not interesting news for them.
Wait, when did you date a coworker? Like in New
When I was in
York?
Beijing.
Oh, Beijing. Okay.
Yes. Yes. And it was a very gossipy group because it's like expats. Everyone's young and single.
Wait, was this the guy
So
you live with or someone different?
no,
Okay.
separate.
Okay.
It was
I
a
was
very
like,
short-lived relationship. But when we DTR'd, we were like, let's just tell everyone.
okay,
And
so
then they stopped talking about it.
short-lived. Was it
Yeah.
awkward after?
Not at all. Not at
Okay.
all. Yeah. It wasn't awkward because people knew. I think people only get awkward if they don't think you know that they know. So they're trying to hide the fact that they know. But if everybody knows, like, whatever.
Oh my God. I just thought of something really embarrassing that happened to me.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to do like a quick sidebar on this. I know this is
Share.
not the advice that anyone's looking for, but we had a holiday party when I worked at Yahoo back in the day. This was like, I don't know, a couple years out of college. And this is the one that was just a total gossip mill and everyone was hooking up with everyone. So we had our holiday party. That's when a lot of the shit would go down.
Oh, always.
Because that's when people
Holiday
get
party.
drunk and like all this stuff happens. Again, different climate that we're in today for many reasons, pandemic and then
Yes.
even pre-pandemic. This was, I would say, a good 15, 20 years ago. So anyways, holiday party happens. Somehow I end up leaving with this guy, like that I've
Okay.
haven't really even like talked to all that much. We had like a few interactions at work, but nothing crazy. And at the time, my roommate was a fellow like coworker of mine.
Oh,
And
no.
her boyfriend was a coworker. So it was super incestuous. And we're on the way back to my place, like in a cab. This is before Ubers. This was this long ago. I was hammered. I get out of the cab. Like, I stopped
Obviously.
the cab because in my mind, I was like, oh my God, I'm bringing this guy back to like them. Like, this is
Yeah.
so bad. Like, I don't
Yeah.
even know what I'm doing. And
To the
now
wolves.
they're going to like see this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I tell the car to stop. I get out of the cab. No context of like where I am. I'm like 4 blocks from my house. And then I'm just like lost. I see a cab coming back, so I hail it. I open the door. It was a minivan, so I opened the door, sliding door. He's there because it was the same cab that just turned around.
Shut
And he was
up.
like, "Oh, you changed your mind," and I slammed the door. And I was so mortified. The next day was one of those moments I woke up and I was like, "Oh, nothing bad happened last night." And I like went to get on the the public transport in Boston to go to work, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh fuck!" Like
Oh,
it
shit.
all came back. And I remember seeing him that day, and I was like so awkward. And then I went out with my friends that night, and he was at the bar, and I was again super fucking awkward.
Oh,
because I had
no.
no like communication skills at all back then, so I was just like ran away. Like I ran from this guy multiple times. It was horrible.
Well, you didn't sleep with him. So
I didn't.
good thing, I guess.
I don't know. Anyways, there was a lot of, I could go on all day of all the stories that happened back at this job, but I think the world has changed a lot, because I think just this, like, I don't know, like, did you hear as many of these, like, let's get drunk at holiday parties and hook up? I feel like that's not the world that we're in anymore.
I mean, my coworkers still ask me if they can hug me, like
Exactly.
everything is consensual.
It's very
like
different.
There's no way. And even when we do go out drinking, it's not, nobody's getting hammered.
And if, like, a guy, like, I remember there was this guy at work that, like, would, like, touch, like, this like the back, like, women's backs, and everyone thought he was, like, the creeper. So it wasn't flirty and nice. It was like, this guy's super creepy. So I think we're in a different world. We need to recognize where we are. I mean, that being said, I think, like, if the connection is there, you should shoot your shot. Like, I think you said it. How important is this job to you? That's probably the ultimate question. I mean, one of my old managers, he ended up marrying a girl that reported to him. So it does happen. I mean, that's clearly, like, you need, like, approval and stuff.
Against policy, but okay.
They both left. Like, they're just like, look, there's a dime a dozen tech companies. We don't need to work here.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point, too, is you can always find a job, but finding your life partner is not that easy. So which one do you prioritize more? And it doesn't mean that if things go sour, you're going to leave this job. It's not going to be that dramatic. Just you have to weigh out your options a little bit before moving forward. But I don't see anything wrong with giving a little nudge here and there, and giving that sign of interest just to start.
Yeah. It's so hard, because I'm, like, thinking about it. I'm like, I agree with you on some level. It's like, yeah, this person could be your soulmate, but they also could blow up in a week, and then, like, it wasn't worth it. It's just so hard to tell. And jobs too, like, yeah, you could find another job. It really just depends on you and your industry and what you do. There's so many factors that we can't give, like, blanket advice for that. But I think it's weighing all the factors and then letting something progress over time. So when you are taking a risk, it's more of a calculated one. That's what I would say. Like, don't shoot a shot blind. And they're like, if you're hetero, they're like, I'm gay, I like men, like.
Yeah.
Although that'd probably just be funny. They would be like, I don't care. But
yeah, I think just being more careful about it. But there's nothing. I think it's just, figuring out what your feelings are, and then developing a connection and seeing if there's a connection worth pursuing farther.
Right. And it's, again,
I mean, just like any kind of dating.
Right. And you don't have to, like, if you do decide this, it doesn't have to be like, I want to get married to you. Like, you can ease in on what it is that you're actually saying to this person, that it's not that big a deal if they were to reject you, quote unquote.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, dating a coworker, yay or nay? What's your consensus?
Yay.
Yay-ish. I was going to say, I'm kind of a middle ground. I think, again, I'll go back to our takeaway. It's a calculated risk. Know that it's the long game. Really assess your situation. But if everything checks out and you think it's worth it, then, yeah, of course, this could be a very viable prospect. Don't expect instant results. And I think, again, the idea of the man pursuing in a hetero world may be outdated because of Me Too, not to be blamed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, another way to do this, I just thought of this, is if you see them on an app, swipe on them, and if you match, you kind of get an answer there, right?
At least that's ideal.
Right, that's ideal. But if you, I don't know, like I think that would be the best scenario, but I think also a lot of coworkers are afraid to swipe on each other on apps.
Yeah,
let's see what happens.
I mean, I think you could even just bring up dating, like, more like, instead of I want to date you, like, just bring up dating so they know that, one, you're single, and then you can also see their reaction. If they're like, yeah, I live with my partner, then you don't need to waste any more time, right? Or you can plot how you're going to break them up. Just kidding.
Oh, Julie. You're now sounding like a friend of ours.
Oh my God,
who
yes.
Try to introduce us to a married man.
She's like, I have a viable, and I think it was like someone in her professional network too.
Yes,
she's like, I have a viable prospect for you. This is when both UA and I were single. She's like, only problem, he's married with 3 kids. We're like,
Yeah.
thank you.
We were like, is he getting a divorce or something? And she's like, I don't know. I don't know anything about his marriage.
This is not a viable prospect for either one of us. Thank you.
This is the least viable prospect. I'd rather date a coworker outright than date this man who's married with 3 kids.
I think the best bet, though, would be your friend's coworker.
That's always decision. Yeah.
Someone that you don't shit where you eat, but they get the seal of approval. That would be good.
Yes.
Industry conferences, that's another good one. You know, people that are in your world, but not in your direct world. Yeah.
If anybody listened to our main episode this week, it was about a family of 3 co-parenting 1 child. And the 3 of them all met separately at conferences.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a little inspiration for you. Maybe it's not your direct coworker, but someone in your industry.
You know, throwback to season 1 of Dateable when we had Michael Vargas as a co-host. Yes. He talks about the mushroom trick he used at a conference. Remember that one?
Oh my God. I can't. We need to end this now.
Okay. We got it.
Cool. We got it. Thanks for sending in the questions. We would love to get more questions. We love all the questions you've all sent in. You can email us hello@dateablepodcast.com or DM us on Instagram @dateablepodcast.